Hi, it's Dr. Fox, licensed psychologist in the state of Texas. And in this video, we're going to talk about signs of a narcissistic partner. And we're going to break down those aspects and those components of partners who are along that narcissistic spectrum. I'm going to give you an example of a couple to help illustrate this. So please hang on, stick with me, and like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into it. So I'm going to tell you a short story about a relationship with a narcissist. Then we'll break down the signs of a narcissistic partner. And finally, I want to turn your attention to perhaps the most effective tool to identify a narcissist. So let's get into it. Now, Jamal and Dawn have been dating for 3 months. Dawn identifies herself as an influencer. She is highly focused on her perception of social media, how many likes she gets, and how many people share her pictures and videos. Jamal is an artist who owns his own studio. They met at an art show, and he was hosting, and he was immediately enamored with Dawn. He was awestruck with her, and she exhibited a lot of charm. She presented as very open and a free spirit. As they saw each other more and more, Jamal noticed that she would turn the conversation to her social media accounts, likes, shares, and so on. Now, Jamal felt that he rarely had an opportunity to get a word in, and Dawn often made demands for him to leave work to help her film a video or take photos for her challenge or website, regardless of what else he had going on. One day, while they were looking at each other's phone photos, Jamal noticed all but 10 of Dawn's pictures on her phone were of her, whereas Jamal had mostly pictures of his friends, family, and some of Dawn. Dawn made several comments on why he did not have more pictures of her. After a really bad day, Jamal tried to confide in Dawn about his fears of losing his studio and other issues. She cut him right off and turned the conversation into her social influencing and how he should forget his studio and work for her. When Jamal said he couldn't do that, he'd be letting go of his passion, she got up and left and ignored him for 2 days. Put him on the old silent treatment. When their communication resumed, Jamal felt it in his stomach and heart that Dawn was not a good match for him. He tried to tell her, but she became upset, saying whose studio would she use now? Jamal turned and walked away and ended all contact with Dawn. Can you relate to the relationship of Jamal and Dawn? What aspects could you relate to? So let's take a look at the 7 signs of a narcissistic partner. First, we want to look at that conversation dominance. Now, this is when the other individual is not letting you add your input. They often refute your opinion when it goes against his or hers, and you feel like you're in a submissive role while you're having a conversation, right? So you're not able to really freely talk about or admit your point of view or discuss your point of view because it's always being rerouted back to the individual. So that individual is showing conversation dominance. Now the next is careless demands. This is when the other individual makes requests that are obvious inconveniences. And when you speak up, they give you the silent treatment, they may pout, or they attempt to make you feel guilty about it. So they make these careless demands. They don't care how it's influencing, your life, your schedule, your work, your issues with your family or friends or other responsibilities. They want those demands met, right? We saw that with Dawn, right? We saw the conversation dominance with Dawn as well. Now it's like looking in a mirror. The other individual reminds you by behavior and statements of someone from your narcissistic past relationships. These don't have to always be romantic relationships, but maybe platonic or familial as well. So when you're looking at your partner, you're kind of like, you remind me a little bit of my mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, best friend, whoever it is, who you feel pretty confidently falls along that narcissistic spectrum. Next one, we have verbal cutoffs. Now, verbal cutoffs are while giving your opinion or your thoughts, you are continually cut off, particularly if it is contrary to your partner's belief. So you don't really have time to further explore your opinion, further explore your view, or anything because you're immediately cut off because your partner wants to refocus it on them, or you're saying something that is annoying them, frustrating them, so they cut you off so that it is rerouted back to them. Next, we've got excessive, braggadocio, and self-praise. This is the other individual's topics change, but the central theme remains the same, which is, how great am I? The narcissistic person is saying that, right? So the theme is always how great I am, how sexy I am, how much I achieve, what I can do, what I will do. It's always on their own self-praise, their own self-congratulatory thoughts, perceptions, views. Next, we've got unsolicited advice. This is when the other individual tells you how to live your life without being asked and including your beliefs and values. Now, this often has a very deriding component to it, and this can be before or after the advice, such as, you mess things up all the time, so, bum, bum, bum. Or they say, you're really bad at, da, 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 and if you did it this way, each time you'd have fewer screw-ups. These are those backhanded comments, right? The unsolicited advice that also comes with a little punch in the jaw, a little bit of a slap with no tickle kind of thing, right? So it's this deriding, degrading of you while they're also telling you how to fix your life. And then lastly, they use a lot of passive-aggressive tactics. Now, the other individual tells you about their indirect manipulation strategies or tactics to get his or her needs met. And if they're doing this, you need to be aware that it's only a matter of time until those tactics are directed and used on you. So you want to be aware of that. Remember, how they tell you that they deal with other people in their life is likely how they're dealing with you. May not be as apparent, may not be as direct, but a lot of folks, and you and I included, we tend to use the same strategies to manage stress, novel social engagements, different types of issues. So we all fall to our default patterns and beliefs. So this can be something, if you have a partner who's along that narcissistic spectrum, be aware that these components are very real, that they're telling you how they're going to deal with you someday. So what's the best way to deal with that? Well, it's also a challenging way too. I mean, I have to be honest with you, right? And the best way is for you to listen to what I call your good guts. And your good guts tell you when you meet someone that fits your narcissistic partner past. And partner could also mean mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, someone you know. So they kind of fit that narcissistic pattern, right? That narcissistic silhouette, let's say. But I want you to learn to trust your intuition and resist the urge to rationalize it away. Oh, they're not really like this. Oh, that doesn't really count. Avoid self-statements like, oh, I'm just being nervous, thinking he's like Bill, who could be your narcissistic partner. Could be Beth, could be Dawn, could be Jamal, whoever that narcissistic partner is. You want to engage in rational, fact-finding exploration to support or discount your guts. And I think this is really important, especially if you have a tendency to seek out those narcissistic partners, not only doing some self-exploration, seeing what is it about that. Because we all grow up and we internalize particular expectations and understandings of relationships. And a lot of that can relate to our parents, our upbringing, perhaps traumatic experiences or other various experiences that we've had during our development. And this kind of helps frame the partners that we seek out because we become attracted to what we know and understand. Also, we become attracted to, and this is how human beings work, by what we see most often. So we adapt because we're adaptive creatures. We adapt to those things that we see most often. Going over these 7 insight and commitment strategies does not mean that you cannot get into any relationship you want to, but it provides a foundation of empowerment with choice to enter a relationship armed with the knowledge and insight you need to choose for yourself. You can be in any relationship you want, but don't be fooled by distortion or falling into old patterns. Have the power to choose the relationships you want to get in, and hopefully they're good and healthy ones. And I encourage you to explore this in yourself, as well as look for those 7 partner traits that we just talked about. So please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. And subscribe to my channel. Why not? Take care and be well. Bye-bye.